Justice Department officials say they're suing to block AT&T's $39 billion deal to buy T-Mobile. The government contends the acquisition of the number 4 wireless carrier by the number 2 carrier would reduce competition and raise prices. This despite a pledge by AT&T to bring 5,000 call center jobs currently based abroad to the U.S. Time to let the Willis watchdogs out. Katie Pavlich is the news editor for townhall.com. Susan Slavic is the CEO and co-founder, that is, of YourBiz.com. And Mercedes Colvin is a Fox News legal analyst. Mercedes, let's start with you. What do you make of this? It's sort of a legal story, but there are all kinds of wheels within wheels with this.
I really think it's a negotiating strategy by the DOJ. I really think, because there's so much communication between the two. AT&T was very careful. There's a $10 billion penalty clause if this business deal doesn't go through. So they put all their ducks in a row. They had lots of discussions with DOJ. I think DOJ is looking for AT&T to squeeze out more concessions. Those 5,000 jobs are great, but they're looking for more.
That was a bribe. But Susan, to you, when you look at this, I thought one of the things that was interesting is that now the FCC is saying, we're hands off. The Justice Department suit goes forward. We're not going to get in their way. They're going to pursue. This is going to take forever.
That's true, and it's a shame because, you know, I think the point that's not coming out here is the additional capacity that this deal brings. Right now, there are a lot of areas that are reaching broadband capacity. If this deal goes through, suddenly now you've increased that capacity. You're giving broadband opportunities to more people, particularly in rural areas. And for me, being all about small business, what I see is technology is a level playing field for small businesses. This deal increases capacity, and when you increase capacity, you lower the prices. So all of this talk about it's going to drive prices up, I don't quite buy that.
But Katie, the DOJ says, hey, look, this is bad for consumers, bad, 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 especially people who are in rural areas, people who have lower incomes. What do you say?
Right. I don't think we need the DOJ or the Obama administration telling us what's good and bad for the marketplace anymore. I think they've tried that. They've failed. This is an example of them killing more jobs. This is going to bring jobs. And I think it's interesting that they're doing this with AT&T and T-Mobile because a couple years ago, Verizon acquired Alltel. And I don't remember the DOJ under Bush getting involved. So I think that this is a bad move by the Justice Department. And it's unfortunate with a 9.1% unemployment rate.
All right. Well, let's move on. The Wall Street Journal reporting on a new study showing in areas where there's an increase in foreclosures, there's also increases in hospitalizations and diabetes. It also leads to more suicide attempts. Katie, what do you say about that?
Well, I think this is an unfortunate situation. I think that obviously when you're underwater with your mortgage, your stress levels go through the roof. And I think this is an overall account of how people feel about the economy right now. People are stressed out, and unfortunately, they're going to have to pay more for medical bills when they can't even pay their mortgage.
Susan, who is surprised by this, right? Well, like if you're a small business operator and you're having lots of troubles, you're stressed out, you're more likely to get sick.
You know what? When I read this report, I sort of went, duh, somebody like actually spent money on this study.
Probably the government.
Really? Yeah, there we go. Probably the Obama administration. But I have to say, we know that stress is the #1 cause of illness in this country for years. It is not the singular incident of the foreclosure that's causing this illness to go up. This has been something that the foreclosure has been leading up to for years. They've had financial problems. Maybe they lost their jobs. All of those things are stress triggers. This is not a surprise. It's an issue that's going to happen, and it's going to continue for a while till the economy turns around.
A lot of mental health issues, too. I mean, they didn't really focus in on that as much, but there are a lot of mental health issues, and you're exactly right, Susan. It's all about the symptomology. Foreclosure is just one little slice of it. We are talking about job loss, and a lot of folks that have these foreclosures, they have been out of jobs for years. Foreclosures take years to get to fruition. So when the bank tries to foreclose you, it takes 2 or 3 years. So we're talking about families that are without income except for unemployment, which is now 99 weeks, almost 2 years.
Well, and that's why we need to increase the number of jobs.
Exactly.
Because it helps people, it helps families. We've got to get on the right track with that. All right, here's something else we should get on the right track with. Florida has put into effect, and everybody on the set is laughing, a law requiring students to pull their damn pants up. Oh, did I say that? I'm sorry. Now I'm in
the FCC's after you.
Exactly.
And one state senator is so passionate about the new rules, he is visiting schools in his district, handing out belts, which I actually think is pretty smart. Mercedes?
When did the plumber's look get fashionable? Someone tell me. Someone tell me what happened there.
Women do not like this.
It is just nasty. Well, thankfully, someone's got a sense of humor about it. Let's see if the students actually wear those belts. And I do know that there's some penalties, and it is. I mean, it's a public issue. They can make these types of rules. It can be enforced.
Well, I think it's an issue of decency. I mean, every generation has its outrageous clothing, right? I remember when I was growing up, it was the long hair of my boyfriends that made my parents upset. But here we really do have an issue of decency. I really don't care to see somebody's underwear or even another part of their anatomy. So, you know what? I applaud Florida. Arkansas has got a similar law. Good for them.
Katie, you're from a different generation. Tell me what we're missing here, okay?
I like this law. I think bringing back the leather belt is a good idea, but I don't necessarily think that a law is necessary. If they can't pull their pants up, send them home. If you're not going to come to school, whose fault is that?
How
It's the
hard is
parents'
that,
fault,
really?
And it's the kids' fault. Yeah, I mean, that's something that people need to take responsibility for, but I do like the overall idea of bringing back the leather belt in the classroom.
Yeah, okay, well, it's not that hard now, is it? Okay, thanks, Katie, Susan, and Mercedes. Great job, guys. Really appreciate your help today. The Fed and the White House say we're not headed into another recession, but we have the signs you at home can look at, point to, explore to show them they're wrong. We're covering your assets next.